عارف إن هول بيقتلوا.
Good afternoon on this Saturday, June 6th. I'm Yumna Nofa. You're watching the English newscast, and these are our top stories. Saudi Arabia says it intercepted a Scud missile fired on its territory by rebel forces in Yemen as momentum gathers for peace talks in Switzerland next weekend. Hezbollah seizes control of a hilltop on the outskirts of the town of Fleita in the Syrian Al-Qalamun region. Lebanese forces chief Samir Jaja states that the state must act accordingly with the Sunni community in order to prevent any attempts on their part to engage in the ranks of ISIS. Saudi Arabia says it has intercepted a Scud missile fired on its territory by rebel forces in Yemen as momentum gathers for peace talks in Switzerland next weekend. The Royal Saudi Air Defense Forces intercepted with a Patriot missile, according to a statement from the Saudi-led coalition, which has been waging an air war against the rebels since March 26th. The missile was fired from south of the Houthi rebel bastion of Saada in Yemen's northern mountains. Destroying the missile capabilities of the Houthis and their allies in the armed forces has been a top priority of the coalition bombing campaign. And the Scud launch comes a day after rebel allies killed 4 Saudi troops in cross-border attacks, clouding preparations for UN-brokered peace talks in Geneva on June 14th. Hezbollah has seized control of a hilltop on the outskirts of the town of Fleita in the Syrian Al-Qalamun region. The party's mouthpiece, Al-Manar TV station, reported that Hezbollah fighters, backed by Syrian regime troops, captured Sadr al-Bustan hilltop. Tens of Al-Qaeda affiliate and Nusra Front's militants were allegedly killed in the fierce battles. Now, the video showed footage of Hezbollah and the Syrian army's operation in Al-Thalaja mountain in Fleita, where fighters were able to unfurl their flags on the mountain's top. Hezbollah insists it is fighting in Syria to prevent extremist groups from entering Lebanon. And the Syrian army said Friday it has seized numerous villages and strategic hilltops in Qalamun with Hezbollah's help, according to Syrian state television. Hezbollah leader Sayyid Hassan Nasrallah vowed to press on with the offensive to evict Islamist militants from the outskirts of Arsel, saying the battle at a later stage would also target ISIS fighters based in the volatile area. He spoke yesterday and he said he staunchly rejected charges that Hezbollah was planning to enter Arsel, accusing his rivals in the Future movement of spreading such rumors as a scary tactic. Hezbollah has been fighting jihadi militants on Arsel's outskirts in recent days, capturing more than a dozen positions and hilltops from the Nusra Front-led fighters from the north, east, as well as the south. The offensive began 1 month ago on the southern end of the Qalamun mountain range on Syria's western border with Lebanon. Fighters from Hezbollah, the Syrian army, and their allies slowly moved north towards Arsel's outskirts, killing hundreds of jihadis and capturing large swathes of territory. Lebanese forces chief Samir Jaja is stating that Lebanon must act accordingly with the Sunni community in order to prevent any attempts on their part to engage in the ranks of ISIS. In order for the state to prevent Daesh from entering Lebanon, he said, it must act well with the Sunni community to prevent them from joining the ranks of Daesh. He was speaking after a meeting a public delegation from the region of Batroun. The Assad Mamluk Samaha conspiracy, he said, was uncovered lately, and it aims to bomb Sunni neighborhoods in Tripoli and Akkad, adding that the soft verdict of a 4.5 years jail term against Samaha could push some Sunnis to extremist organizations and join the ranks of Daesh. Jaja stressed the necessity to prevent any attempts to infiltrate Lebanon's border in reference to the clashes taking place in Syria's Al-Qalamun, which runs close to Lebanon's northeastern border town of Arsel. The Free Patriotic Movement and Lebanese forces handed over to Maronite Patriarch Bashar al-Ra'i a copy of the so-called Declaration of Intent between the two parties for his review. FPM lawmaker Ibrahim Kanaan and LF official Milham Riyashi stressed after talks with Ra'i and the Bkirke that the declaration is not targeting any side but merely bridges the gap between the Christians. Change and Reform Bloc MP Kanaan clarified that the agreement represents a new page and hope for the Christians. He noted that Ra'i is the sole guarantee and sponsor for this declaration. And for his part, Riyashi remarked that the social fabric is united again and the virtual wall that separated the two parties has collapsed. Coming up next, Melissa McCarthy is back with Spy, her new movie. We've got the press coverage. Stay here. Welcome back. You're watching the 4:20 o'clock news on Future Television. Iraqi security forces backed by air support used anti-tank missiles to repel Islamic State group suicide bombers driving explosive rigged vehicles in Anbar province. Officials say an army colonel said security forces used Russian Kornet missiles to destroy 2 of the vehicles in the Natim Taqsim area west of Baghdad, while an Iraqi airstrike destroyed the 3rd. Interior Ministry spokesman Saad Maan said 4 vehicles were destroyed and that the air support comes from the U.S.-led coalition against ISIS. Security forces also used missiles to repel attacks on Anbar bases on Thursday by jihadists using vehicle bombs, one of the Islamic State group's deadliest tactics. So in a recent United Nations High Commission for Refugees, known as the UNHCR campaign, celebrities did promote World Refugee Day, which is happening on June 20th. Actress Emma Thompson took in former Rwandan refugee Tindyebwa Agaba when he was just 16 years old, and he now works as a human rights lawyer. Also, photographer and former model Helena Christensen documented the lives of internally displaced women in Colombia who were forced off their land. This is the clip.
Speaking a new language, your English is fantastic now.
Yeah, it has been a long journey.
Journey. I mean, in many ways, we're all product of refugees. You know, we're all. If you go back far enough, you'll find a refugee in your family. People have had to go because human beings commit dreadful wrongs upon one another, and people have to leave their homes.
It's always best, but at the same time, you know, when things are difficult, you might as well slightly move away, but home will always be important.
Yeah.
There are lots of amazing moments that have happened and continue to happen. And
God willing, will continue.
Yes, and
if I'm spared, because I'm a very old lady, and you're still young and lovely.
Oh, yes, yeah. That's undisputed.
I'm Helena, and I am a photographer. I'm here to use my skills to create a platform for the situation for women in Colombia.
Usted es muy fuerte.
Pero porque los golpes me han hecho así.
Y a mí que me asesinaron mi hijo.
El baile yo lo llevo en la sangre. Yo cuando bailo me transporto a otro planeta, a otro mundo, a otro ambiente, porque cuando tú escuchas la música y la sientes, el sonar de los tambores, de las gaitas, toda esta música colombiana típica, es algo que yo siempre voy a llevar en la mente y en mi corazón.
Together, we can make a difference.
In Jordan, which is home to some 18,000 Syrians who've fled their homes. And I'm here today with a truly, truly special young lady.
Hello, I am Mazoon. I'm passionate for education.
Her name is Mazoon. She's 16 years old, and she's such an absolute, unabashed, passionate advocate for education. She's like indomitable. So she went around and spoke to parents. She advocated against early marriage, and she also advocated for boys to go to school instead of going out and working. And she's been referred to as the Malala of Syrian refugees. Remarkably, while she was at the Zaatari camp, she met Malala Yousafzai, who's a Nobel Peace Prize winner and has become the champion of girls' education. And in some ways, they became spiritual kins. They shared common goals. Girls' education was very important to both of them. They struck up a friendship, and in fact, Mazoon had a chance to go to Oslo and be present when Malala received her Nobel Peace Prize. She said, I want to see girls in school uniforms, not wedding dresses. It's been a privilege and an honor to meet you, Mazoon. I'm proud of what you do. I want you to continue doing what you do, and I hope you will never change.
German Chancellor Angela Merkel said that while she appreciated the benefits of Facebook, the social network was no more the key to a contented life than an ordinary household appliance. She said, I have a Facebook page in my capacity as party leader, and I think that for a lot of people, Facebook is great, but it will not make your whole life happy. It is a nice thing to have, like a car or a decent washing machine, but you cannot assume from the sheer existence of Facebook that you will suddenly have great friends automatically. She raised cheers from the crowd at the church congress where she was speaking at Stuttgart. Pope Francis is in Bosnia. He urged Bosnians for lasting peace and greater solidarity after being greeted by a presidential official in Sarajevo during his official visit. His one-day trip marks the third by a pope since the 92-95 war, which has left Bosnia-Herzegovina hamstrung by the legacy of the conflict and divided along ethnic and religious lines. Pope Francis praised the progress the Balkan country has made 20 years after the war, but warned Bosnians that further efforts need to be made to increase trust and respect. He said, quote, "We should not become complacent with what has been achieved so far, but rather seek to make further efforts towards reinforcing trust and creating opportunities for growth and mutual knowledge and respect." He said this while addressing officials. Now, Catholics are the vast majority of ethnic Croats, and they account for about 15% of Bosnia's 3.8 million people. Melissa McCarthy is back with her staple mix of Chaplinesque sweetness and profanity-laced verbal virtuosity. In her latest, the espionage comedy Spy, McCarthy dons a host of identities, a closet full of wigs, and in order to stay undercover, but she really just likes to switch things up, essentially changing her entire performance midway through. Jason Statham also co-stars, and he plays a parody of his own grave gonzo persona, popping up occasionally to attempt wildly unsuccessful feats of action stardom. Here is a look at it.
You will no longer be Susan Cooper. You're Honey Morgan, divorced housewife from Iowa.
It's a confidence builder.
You really think you're ready for the field?
Scooter, what are you, the Pope?
They just get dumpy. I love that all of her disguises, as these two guys keep showing up in beautiful suits, like more and more like gorgeous looking every time. God, when we get those new outfits, I'm like, it just makes me laugh. It's so sad. It's just, and the color, everything about it, like nothing could be more unflattering. Like, nope, you covered it. The color, oh, is the color also awful? Okay.
It's a classic.
Is the sad weave of the vest really unappealing? Okay, good. So we're covered.
Sandals down.
Oh,
Right.
the athletic sandals.
The athletic sandals.
When I quit teaching and joined the CIA, I thought I was going to be this amazing spy, and I'm still just the same boring person I was.
You play it too safe.
I just hear my mom's voice. Just blend in, let somebody else win. Making a wave isn't always brave.
Brilliant.
Give up on your dreams, Susan. Just to write that in my lunchbox.
Glad you're still alive, Beverly. Oh! Fucking girly wanker. Sorry about that. Nice work, Cooper.
Wow. Is that a compliment?
Need someone invisible.
I'll do it.
Okay. Thanks, lunch lady.
I'm serious.
Don't let me down, Cooper.
I will not. I will let you up.
No, I mean, I wasn't trying to be funny. I mean, I'm trying to play it straight. So, a mistake it was. It was, it just, Paul saying he just wanted to have something you just play everything for real and just believe all these stupid things that I'm going to get you to say. And I suppose that's the humorous aspect of that is all down to the writing.
Why are you being so nice to me? Can't just be because I remind you of some sad Bulgarian clown.
You remind me of my mother.
Oh, really? You know that. I mean, you and I are pretty close in age.
You're funny.
This marks the end of our bulletin for today. Now for a reminder of our headlines. Saudi Arabia says it intercepted a Scud missile fired on its territory by rebel forces in neighboring Yemen as momentum gathers for peace talks in Switzerland next weekend. Hezbollah seizes control of a hilltop on the outskirts of the town of Fleita in the Syrian Al-Qalamun region. And Lebanese Forces Chief Samir Jaja states that the state must act accordingly with the Sunni community in order to prevent any attempts on their part to engage in the ranks of ISIS. Those are your Saturday headlines live on Future Television. Catch us tomorrow for a very special interview with a director and writer, Jimmy Kairouz. We'll see you again. Take care.
مش عارف